20 years.
That's not.
Is it 10 o'clock?
Residents.
The real life runs slow.
This is a new sub-area, right?
Good morning, everyone, and we will start the meeting. Happy New Year before we take the roll. Happy New Year to everybody. And welcome to the first meeting of what is the future of our city.
Right.
Can we take the roll, please?
Okay. Mayor Darcy?
Here.
Councilman Cardenas?
Here.
Ms. Bottomley?
Here.
Mr. Doris?
Here.
Ms. Gruenberg?
Here.
Ms. Howard?
Here.
Mr. Martin? Not here yet. Mr. O'Hara?
Here.
Mr. Parker is absent. He had a death in the family. Mr. Pryor?
Here.
Mr. Randich is joining us. Oh, you can hear us. Great. We
Right.
can hear you. Joining us remotely
You're
from
on the
Florida.
big screen, Steve. Be careful.
I know.
See up your nose, Steve.
He's temporarily living. Mr. Rico is absent. He let me know he could not be here today, last minute. Dr. Rouse? Here. Ms. Viveros?
Here.
Ms. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Stunich?
Here.
Chairman Rolfe?
Here. So, what is it, like 35 degrees out here? What is it in wherever you are, Steve?
You gotta unmute yourself.
See, we have to teach him how to operate this thing.
It's about 74.
Okay. You've said enough for today.
Silence him.
With that, we need to get the
Approval of the,
approval of the minutes.
Yep.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any questions, comments? Hearing none?
all right, with that, we'll do roll. Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Councilman Cardenas?
Aye.
Ms. Bottomley?
Yes.
Mr. Doris?
Yes.
Ms. Gruenberg?
Aye.
Ms. Howard?
Yes.
Mr. Martin, not here. Mr. O'Hara?
Here.
Mr. Parker is not here. Mr. Pryor?
Yes.
Mr. Randich?
Aye.
Mr. Rico is not here. Dr. Rouse?
Aye.
Ms. Viveros? Ms. Walker?
Aye.
Mr. Stunich?
Aye.
Chairman Rolfe?
Here. Aye.
All right, first on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. We have no one here in the audience. Which brings us to old business, of which there is none, and then move on to new business. And the first order of business is a status update on the topic area workshops. Okay. So we have had 2 so far, which was the housing and neighborhoods on December 8th, and then transportation and mobility was on December 9th. We had pretty good attendance at the housing and neighborhoods one, and I'll ask those who attended that in a couple minutes to give some feedback. And we had about 40 people come to that. The room was divided up in a way that, we engaged people, they moved around. And then we had around 10 to 15 people come to the transportation and mobility workshop on December 9th. Numbers going forward, we have asked people if they would like to pre-register, but they certainly don't have to register to come to one of these workshops. We have 20 people so far signed up for the infrastructure and utilities workshop, which will be this Thursday. We have 14 so far for open space and natural resources environment, which is on the following Wednesday, the 14th. And arts, culture, and heritage, which is the January 21st. We have 18 people signed up. Economic development, which is on Monday, January 26th, is 17 people at this point in time, and then land use, which is the following day, Tuesday the 27th, is we have 20 people pre-registered. So, we'll talk about communication strategies right now. So we have been promoting this to over 800 people who are signed up as part of either taking the survey or attended our community workshops. So we have a distribution list of 800 plus people that have been getting emails now about the workshops, and we get an uptick on pre-registrations every time we send one of those out. We also have been targeting we've been sending out, so that was a general one about all the workshops, then we also are sending out individualized ones about the specific topic area workshops. So the ones that are coming up those messages have gone out or starting to go out for open space and the environment. That'll be the next set we'll be sending out. We are starting to have completed the individualized flyers. I'm looking at you, Diana, because yours will be then the next one. We have the open space and natural resources individualized invitation done for Boise and Juan, who are the co-leaders of that. But the other ones are forthcoming. We'll be getting those to the leaders of those groups. Another update about the workshops is we have had a slight shift on the focus. So originally the thought was that the workshops would be really targeted towards topic matter experts and then open to the public with the community coming. We've shifted away from that and really just trying to get people in the community to come to the workshops, and for a couple of reasons. One is that we really haven't, this is a touch point in the process for the community. So if you think about it, the last time the community was really engaged in the project was through the survey and through the workshop that happened on September 17th. So, which is the time when we gathered what the community priorities were. So now we are in phase 3 of this project, and these workshops offer an opportunity for people to be updated on where we are at in this process, and then 2, really dive deep into topic areas that they really feel a connection to. And someone can come to all of them. So we really want to encourage attendance for people who really care about these topic areas. And what we are asking people to do at the workshops is we are presenting the goals and objectives of these chapters, these topic areas that you were presented with at your December meeting. And I think hopefully you guys were all able to re-access the document. It is posted on the city's web page for this project at this point in time, so the community can look at that. So we are asking people to engage with those goals and objectives for the topic areas, and we want to understand if the objectives meet, what they think they've been informed are the priorities from what they've told us and what we've gleaned from the existing conditions report. And then we're asking people who come to identify if there's things that are missing that we should be exploring more. And then the workshops are just another opportunity to start teasing out some strategies and recommendations to help us develop and refine a draft plan. And then finally, the workshops are an opportunity just for knowledge sharing both ways. So we have city staff who are the topic matter experts for these topic areas at the meetings, as well as community members who maybe are topic matter experts. And it's a flow of information both ways. We've heard positive feedback from people who've come so far that they've really enjoyed interfacing with some of our staff on a more personal level by standing around a table looking at maps and being able to ask questions. So with that, I'd like to open it up just to see how, if you have any questions about the process going forward with the topic area workshops, and then if anyone would like to offer any feedback for those who've attended a workshop so far.
Maybe ahead of the topics themselves, the encouragement of pushing it out on whatever social media you use, just take the list and send the list out with just a brief, hey, if you're interested in what the future of your city is going to be, pick the one that's most interesting to you and come. I plan to go on WJOL Tuesday morning and push them and try to do a regular spot in subsequent weeks to kind of say, we had 20 show up, we need 30. Can you come? Please come. Also, Saturday morning, I will be at Letta with Diana and her board at their board retreat to talk about what's going on with this committee and the plan. And anybody that would like that to be done to a group anywhere, you can do it yourself with some coaching, or I'm happy to participate if that makes sense. But that communication is the key. Yeah, we can put it in the newspaper and on the radio, but if we don't touch them beyond those couple of points, we'll continue to have 20. It'd be great to have 50 show up at all of these, because that might be a significant number in the world of planning professionals.
Yeah, I think 40 was a great number for the first workshop. I think we could even have more at some of these. Yeah. With that too, so staff has a PowerPoint presentation available that we can share with you if you, again, have an opportunity you would like to get in front of a group of people and talk about the project. You can certainly make little tweaks to that, so that's something that I can share with you. And between Jim and I, we've been giving presentations to different interest groups throughout the city.
Well, I've been working with Jane. We've set up a special topic area piece to get the school districts involved. So all the school districts that touch Joliet have been invited to a meeting this Friday morning. We're meeting at the Joliet Township High School District's Admin Center from 8 to 10. Jane will be there to present the project, what we're working on, and get their input in regards to maybe impacts and effects on schools with the housing in particular, workforce development, things of that nature.
Good.
So if you'd like to join us, Jim, Friday morning, 8 to 10, at the
8 a.m.
8 a.m. we're having breakfast, and then Jane's going to talk. So, yeah.
The housing meeting was passionate. I said in the groups, I was able to listen to the group that was back here. There was two groups, but I like the passion. I think when people hit that button where they're passionate about, they'll be here, and that was really passionate. I like the way with the format, the way it took, the way we could interact. So that was a real good group, and I hope we have the same thing tomorrow night.
Yes. Yes, I meant to mention, we've been using a platform called Mentimeter, if you had that experience with it before. So it's a way to, we have these two massive monitors. One of them was up here last time we had this meeting, and we're able to show it's almost like a poll, and people can interact with their phones or any kind of device. And if they aren't able to use their device to engage with this online platform, we had note cards available too for people to handwrite responses. But the fun thing about the platform is that it's anonymous, so we were hoping people would be more willing to share their input on the questions, the prompts that were on the screen, and then the questions that appear on the screen so that everyone can see them, and then also further engage. And there was no limit on the amount of responses that someone could do. And then I have set up touch points with almost everyone here about the upcoming workshops. I haven't done land use and development yet, but that'll be the next one we'll be touching base on. But every workshop's been a little bit unique, which is fine, with some primary objectives the same, but the format may change slightly, especially depending on if we know that there's like 50 people coming, then we might need to even utilize different spaces in City Hall that for those meetings if we have a large showing. But we're adaptable, and I'm really happy we can use the space on those evenings. Anyone have anything else they would like to ask about or comment on about the workshops?
How does that summary then get baked into this project?
Yeah,
You
good,
give that information to
to the
Leslie
consultant.
and her team?
Yep. The nice thing about the platform tool that we're using is that it's a simple download of a PDF and an Excel document too. So if people chose to handwrite their information, we can input it into the same spreadsheet so that their feedback is there. And then we're giving all of that to the consultant. Yes.
Are those meetings recorded like this or no?
No. No, because we're moving around, you wouldn't be able to capture conversations and presentations.
Is there a possibility of kind of picking up what Dr. Rouse is doing with the superintendents to do something with all of the township superintendents that are part of the city? Because
That could be something we look at, yeah. We've
think we
been
should,
sending
because-
personalized invitations to the township superintendents, so they're not just getting a mass email, but we could explore doing something more direct with them as a roundtable.
I mean, and I'm happy to call them individually if that would help. Because their input's going to be very important, because picking up on what Hugh has said on a number of occasions, while they are in the city of Joliet, their township might go beyond, but roads that we might be working on or new roads that we want to create don't end at the city or township limits. You know.
Right.
So I think it's important to do that.
Okay,
And maybe even the county board members who have Joliet as part of their district, we should meet with, not just talk to, but get face to face with them.
okay. Anything else? Okay,
We're going to harass Steve at all.
all right. Next on the agenda is an update on community workshop number 2. Get my sheet here. So today is January 7th. We do have another meeting in between now and then this workshop, which is slated for Thursday, February 26th. It's going to start at 5:00 p.m. It'll either run at 7:30 or 8. We haven't figured out the ending time yet. It will be at the Joliet Public Library, Ottawa Street branch. It'll be on in the second floor Daniel Burnham room. We are just starting to work through the rollout of the marketing plan for that workshop. Staff has a check-in with the consultant later this week. But they do have a schedule of what they're intending to do and how they're gonna roll it out. They wanna do something similar to the last workshop, contemplating some maybe mailers and promotional materials that would mirror what was done before. I will be reaching out to the advisory committee again to think about staffing that workshop. I know you'll all want to be there anyways, but to help out to the welcome table. So we'll be doing that. Okay, what are we doing at this workshop? So one of the main focuses of the workshop is to introduce sub-areas that'll be further explored in this process. And this is actually a third agenda item for today, which we'll talk about. So that'll be a workshop. One of the main workshop purposes is to look at these sub-areas, identify opportunities for improvement and integration of the community priorities into the sub-areas. The project and outcome of the workshop would be feedback on these sub-areas, and then which will help the consultant team further refine design concept plans and then think about how those concept plans for these sub-areas can be applied to other similar type areas in the city. So that would be one main objective of the workshop, or purpose of the workshop. And the other one, we're still refining because we're trying to tease out, again, what we're gleaning from the topic area workshops and how we can keep moving this project forward, building on what we've learned. So that would be the other focus of the workshop, is building on the information we have from the topic area workshops and with the goals, objectives, and then starting with draft recommendations. Any questions about workshop number 2 at this point in time? Then Elaine, I know you've brought up before, we are still working on what the online engagement component will be, and I don't have an answer right this moment. But by February, we better have an answer. All right. Well, then moving on. All right, sub areas. So this project, our contract with our consultant has always included looking at 4 sub areas, up to 4 sub areas of the city for further scrutiny and design, and actual design look. These are the 4 areas that have been identified for study, and I wanted to go over these with you and start eliciting any feedback that will further help the consultant team, especially as this is a focus area for the upcoming workshop. So the first sub area is the Louis Joliet Mall area. A goal of looking at this sub area would be to reevaluate the land uses in this area. I'll note that this area has a zoning mismatch. What I mean by that is it's zone B2, which is the same zoning as our downtown Joliet Central Business District. So pretty much anything that goes here has to always get a variance or variation of use because the zoning doesn't necessarily match the land use or what should be the land uses for this area. So we want to take a complete relook at the mall area through this process and ask the public what they would like to see here. That would be a takeaway from the workshop, is having little pins that people could put on this and say, what would you like to see here? Any questions or comments about the Joliet Mall? Yes?
Yep. One question I'd have is,
Yeah.
how many acres total
Great
is that
question.
area?
I don't know off the top of my head. Ray, do you know?
I don't, but I can do a quick calc on that.
All right, Ray will do a quick calc. Good question.
And then the second question, do you get any metrics from the mall owners as to their thoughts, or how viable is that mall right now? Is it good? Is it okay?
What's it, the occupancy?
Yeah,
I
occupancy.
think Paulina knows occupancy of the mall.
I think last year it was about 92% occupancy.
It's always been consistently in the 90s. Now with this new owner, not sure where it's going to fall, but you'd be surprised on how high that number is when you get inside the mall.
That doesn't include the vacant space, right?
Right.
So that's kind of a misnomer.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just
It's
the
tenants.
middle of the mall.
Yeah.
That's
Not Carson's and Sears, and so there's a lot of
The
baggage on
anchors.
that thing.
And the Yankee Candle Shop just announced their closing.
Oh, they did.
Yes. I just want you to know I know stuff.
He's on top of that clearance sale.
That's right.
Everyone's gonna be smiling muffins.
I can just remember the old Chicago Mall. Some of the people here might remember that. Some are too young.
Oh, yeah.
But they never had any anchor tenants.
No.
And it was pretty much a flop within a couple years of opening.
Yes. Worked
Well-
on that a little bit.
Yeah, I know it was a while ago, but I think you need either the anchors or another
Housing.
use, or housing.
We've tried to talk to the guy that bought the Sears property because it's 3 acres more than Fox Valley and they put 1,000 units there. But he's not ready to do it again. Little hiccup years ago that totally could do it, then he couldn't do it.
So he did 1,000 at Fox Valley?
Yeah,
Wow.
1,002 units on 3 acres less. I think they're 14 acres, this is 17 acres. If you've ever been up there, it's a really, really good use of that property. And hopefully we can find a way to create a plan for him to do that. You know, the cost of money's up, the cost of construction's up, so
I think there are federal incentives for converting underutilized commercial space into residential, though, that was passed in, I want to say 2022. I'll look into that for you.
that should be a priority this year, is trying to find a path that would really light up that whole area.
Absolutely. Yorktown did it as well.
Yes, yeah. And then we would catch up to Naperville, we beat them again. They're only ahead of us by 800 people.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just want to beat Scott Worley, I mean, that's all.
There you go.
But it would be such a great use of that property. I talk to him every once in a while. He's actually in the car business, so he and I know each other. Small fraternity.
The state's made that a little harder though on those developments because now it's required that every unit every parking space you put for residential has to be EV ready. And I know one of the other towns has about 900, a development coming in that's got something like 900 parking spaces. And the developer's saying that's an additional 13 million in costs.
Yeah.
So it's another
Wait, every
expense.
parking spot has to be UV ready?
If you're doing residential developments, if you're building single family, you gotta put a line in the garage, which, okay, fine, like the cost of that is probably not terrible. But if you're doing multifamily or you're doing apartments, you've gotta put those in now and gotta be ready for it. And so the costs of that are just astronomical.
So another thing that kills development.
Yes.
It doesn't
Adaptive
help.
reuse.
We talk a lot to multifamily
Federal
developers
incentive
on this issue, and I will say
Federal
there's still a
funding
lack
for
of
commercial
clarity on what
conversion.
ready means. Like livening it would cost a lot more than just running conduit, and it seems to be being decided at the municipal level at this point, but either way, it's a deterrent. It is.
We need to go after that legislatively, because in my business, everybody's walking away from solid EV. The percentage of sales on that's gonna be, I drive them, I get it. But the percentage of the automobiles that are gonna be EV are not growing, they're gonna start shrinking again. Because that was federally mandated, they gave away 7,500 to buy one, well, that's all gone. And the incentives aren't there, but the cost of the vehicles are up. So in my industry, like Toyota's not going heavy after it, GM's starting to back away from it. So I could see where you might have a 15 or 20% need. And we're gonna have to talk to our friends at the state level to get that kind of changed, because to do 100% is ridiculous.
Right.
You know, to your point, Mayor, today's Wall Street Journal had an article about the EV market share. Ford's latest results, out of 450 to 500,000 vehicles produced in the fourth quarter, 15,000 were electric.
They quit building the Ford F-150 Lightning. They said, it's not working anymore because the costs of them are so high. So maybe we can take that back to our legislative partners.
There's room for pragmatism there. That legislation was not pragmatic, but
Yeah, I think one of ours was a chief co-sponsor on that, one of our senators.
Somebody's got to change their
You can
mind.
figure that out.
Okay.
That person be in the Senate? Got one good guess, right?
Any other comments you'd like to share at this time about the sub-area number 1, which is the Lewis Joliet Mall area?
Will we provide options, or will it just be kind of like a free flow conversation?
It's a good question. I don't know yet. What do you mean by options? Could you clarify?
Yeah, so if it's a housing opportunity, if it's multi-use, if it's mixed use, if it's like providing options for residents to choose from, or if they'll just say, well, we like the mall option and we just want to see.
I would guess that we're going to want to dive more into details, so probably be more specific, but
Would it be beneficial to plant the seed of what we've seen in Yorkville and in Fox Valley by having maybe a picture of what it looks like with residential, then rather than just putting pins in, have a picture, say, this is what they've done in other areas. And then would you consider what you think of that work in Joliet? Because I really believe, just from my, I think that's going to be sacred. I think residential in that area has to happen. I really do. We've seen it happen in other places. I think it has to happen there. and this is a bad comment, but I gotta say it so I can sleep tonight. This is a funny comment. You don't have to worry about electric cars and all that new oil we getting from Venezuela. We don't need no electric cars.
Wait to see what's there.
I thought I heard that oil was specifically for diesel, but
Just
More oil than
we can't find it.
right, it's the heavy
It
oil.
splits similar, just different refineries.
Not that we can't use that, right?
Right,
Jane, about 130 acres for that site.
130,
Yes.
okay.
Thank you. And still 5 property owners, right? The middle and each of the 4 acres. Is that correct?
That I don't know, but I can look that up, yeah.
Does the movie
My
theater
understanding
own
is,
that
yeah,
section?
still 5.
I don't know that if the movie theater owns its own. That would be a 6th. I don't know.
But you're talking about more than just the mall area, am I correct? It's that whole,
Yeah, you did the whole thing? Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking just the mall with the 5. It's many more with the others.
So could we put the number of acres on the legend at the top of each area, just so that we have
Oh,
a
sure,
sense?
yeah,
Because I think that,
yeah,
that is helpful.
yeah. This is the, the first, you guys are the first look at this, so, this is just preliminary information at this point in time. These are all things we're gonna help tease out, so comments like this are good. Anything else about the mall area?
There's another thing I'd like to add. I think
Yeah.
that, not just for this sub area, but, specifically for this one, since we are identifying these as our key areas we're gonna look at, that we're asking for public comment at, my big request would be that there's an invite, something in the mail, an email, a personalized reach out to people that own property in all of these
Yeah.
areas. I think that, to me, if I imagine, frankly, if I live next door to the mall, if I live in one of these units, I would want to know. Maybe it's easy to say oh, there's a comprehensive plan. I don't know what that is. I'm not really that engaged in it. But when you find out, oh, there's going to be a standalone meeting to talk about potential development at this 130 acre part area just north of my house.
Yep.
I care about that. I think that's a great touch plan, another reason to get people involved and engaged. Maybe even signage that's out in that area, what do you envision this to be?
Okay.
And the outliers, all of this that's highlighted is for consideration or just the mall area?
Everything that's in here, this could, this is flexible.
Okay.
This is the area right now, Ray, correct me if I'm wrong, this is all the B2,
Correct.
correct? Yeah, okay. B2 is the zoning designation for this area, whereas if you go across Plainfield Road / Route 30, it transitions to B3.
Okay.
Did we note that on the maps too, so that when we see it, we can see which areas are B3 or B2 or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah,
That would be helpful.
okay.
I think it would also be helpful if we had like on the side or something like a zoomed out map of Joliet, kind of a pinpoint of
With
where.
where they are?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea. All right, the next one is the Ridge Road corridor, which is on the far west side, between Keaton Farm Road and Black Road. This corridor contains a mixture of B3 general business, R1, which is single family residential, R3, which is 1 and 2 family residential zoning designations. The 2004 Kendall County sub-area comprehensive plan identified this area on their future land use map for community commercial land uses, so up and down this corridor. So the thought of including this as a sub area is that 20 years now later, it is time, we would think, for a reevaluation of this corridor. Most of this is again zoned for business, so taking a fresh look at this corridor. Also exploring the possibility for what types of housing units would go here or could go here through the lens of the community members that surround this area.
Could we do a kind of a bubble map over this at some point to understand, let's just say in a 1 or 2 mile radius, the population of that area? And then beyond that, how much more housing is this going to absorb? Because I know there's 400 units going in right now, a little west of that. And just to try and understand, you know, if we turn that all back into residential, is there a need down the road for a pocket of commercial? We just want to make sure we don't build a bunch of houses and make them drive 4 miles to get to commercial or 2, because the traffic out there is going to be something we need to look at, obviously, as well. But just to kind of get an idea, what's this thing going to look like on a certain radius?
Yep.
And how big will the population be? Because that's pretty dense out there.
Yep. Okay.
Look, I don't think it's a secret that Far West commercial's been lagging in terms of development, and I think for that reason, you really have to protect the edges of this corridor for commercial to the extent possible, because ultimately that's what's going to develop there, not dissimilar to kind of what happened along Weber Road. Yeah, there's an argument to be made that, you know, beyond that, you know, cut this in half, if you will, that some higher density residential helps support, you know, commercial development and population growth out there. But Ridge is a corridor worth protecting, at least along the frontage for commercial. That's a major throughput, and as Plainfield continues to grow and expand to the west, Ridge traffic is going to continue to grow, and that's like it's just at some point the commercial needs a place to go out there.
And how far is that from the edge of Minooka, which is growing pretty quickly too?
Black Road to Minooka, 1 mile. Let's call it 2 miles as far as north-south goes, and then another mile west, plus or minus.
You mean to the
Between
interchange?
Plainfield to Minooka Ridge Road, that is eventually all going to be connected, and Joliet will be at the center of that, right?
Theoretically, yeah. I don't know if Minooka can't get through Joliet to the north, like eventually Minooka Shore and Joliet run into each other out there, but yeah, you're just a few miles from Minooka's development is north into Kendall. It kind of stops at Wildey Road, which is it's only 2 miles south of Black, actually, right? Mile to 50, no, 3. Mile to Bell, mile to 52, mile to Black. But, yeah, it's not far away.
I kind of look at this as the north end of Route 59, the north side of Plainfield. That used to be Wheatland Plains. And I remember somebody saying to me one day, that's going to be 50,000 people. I'm like, oh, wait, who's going to move out to the farm? But it's really a dense area with now a lot of grown-in commercial. And I think to your point, Doug, we got to make sure that we understand that corridor is strong and that Ridge Road was improved for high volume.
Yeah.
And it'll move people north and south very well. So. Again, just trying to get an idea of the density of that area, because it could be safe for commercial.
Well, saving some of it for commercial is going to help, because the costs of that growth we need something to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, the residential is not going to pay for that growth. It's not going to pay for police, fire, public works, employees, everything else you're paying to service that. So I think reserving good chunks of it for commercial is important.
We're just trying to figure that out, aren't we?
I don't know the boundaries super well right here. Just to
I'll
the
send you
north
the
of
article.
Caton,
Suburbs are a
Plainfield doesn't
Ponzi
get
scheme.
that far south, does it? Like, there's not an. Is there
Well,
an
wait till the
agreement
urban
in
three
place?
study
We have,
comes in.
yeah, so Doug was just asking about boundary agreements. We do have a boundary agreement with Plainfield. It's pretty close to, I think, where this demarcation is. So it's maybe a mile north at most. And our boundary agreement with Plainfield is recent. So we just, I think, approved it 2 years ago or so. We have boundary agreements with Oswego, Shorewood, Minooka. Those are going to be expiring in the next 2 to 5 years, 6 years, I think, maybe for one of them, Shorewood. Yeah. Yes. Any other comments about this area? Okay. All right, the third one is looking at a legacy east side industrial area. This sub-area, which is Henderson Avenue on the west, Jackson Street on the north, Railroad Row on the east, and Cass Street on the south. This sub-area contains a variety of zoning designations and somewhat incompatible land uses. So you have former manufacturing or current manufacturing and even now current trucking operations, along with flea market and residents, people live there. So the goal with having this be a sub-area, focus area, is to explore reinvestment, revitalization opportunities, and potential redevelopment opportunities in the realm of how land uses could be made more compatible with each other through, again, reinvestment, design opportunities in the future, and looking at the regulatory framework that would support that happening.
What were the streets again?
It is Henderson Avenue on the west, Jackson Street on the north,
Okay.
the railroad corridor on the east, and then Cass Street on the south. Any comments about this area?
Have you gotten any idea from because there's quite a bit of commercial industrial landowners, have you gotten any feedback, or does anyone know what's going on there right now?
No, we haven't reached out to anyone yet. One of the areas though has just transitioned, that went through a special use permit process a couple years ago. So we have been in touch with those property owners, which would be I think Page Avenue, Maple.
Is that trucking? That development
I
there?
think it was the trucking one. We just did a vacation, right, Dustin? Yeah. Street vacation.
Is there a reason that we don't have this sub-area going south all the way down to the railroad tracks down there?
Yeah, you mean the Rock Island line?
Yeah.
The reason, at this point in time, the reason would be just for focus, is to really keep it tight, because it's going to be doing design, so it would be I guess a cost and a focus.
Jane, it looks
These
like
boundaries aren't necessarily hard and fast
Yeah.
right now, so.
It's just, to me, when I take a look at it at a larger scale.
Yep.
To me, it's more than a block, but the block south of Cass aligns with kind of the mix of use that we're having in the currently identified sub-area.
Yeah. And then I guess another comment to that is, there's several areas in this area where these land uses, mix of land uses is occurring, so we thought this would be a good tight area that the concepts that would be emerging and the strategies from this area could then maybe be applied if you did another sub-area south. Like Henderson Avenue on both sides you have housing on one side, this would be south of Cass.
Yeah.
And then you have industrial, and then there's certain pockets along Collins Street and other areas. So the thought would be we pick one, and then that could be replicated for concepts and regulatory framework.
Yeah, I think that makes sense then, so disregard.
Well, that's a good question, because that applies also to the Ridge Road corridor and others too. We're really hoping that these sub-areas, the concepts that emerge from that, as well as regulatory ideas, can be applicable in other spots as well.
I think that as we work through this and as we have our next community meeting, that should be expressed as well,
Yeah.
right? Recognizing that, hey, look, this combination exists elsewhere. We're looking here as a example, as a starting point, so. I think that way people aren't like, oh, well, why isn't it
Yeah.
extended out to here? Or why isn't my neighborhood in this? Or like, I live in something similar.
Yep.
feedback.
Yeah.
I can speak about this in generalities. Obviously, this isn't unique to Joliet. A lot of communities have this mixed-use challenge. Getting out of it is a terribly expensive proposition. And the reality is that when it comes to industrial properties, dated industrial property has a lot of value because an entity can cheaply operate a business out of there. And the cost to move to a new facility is breathtaking in a lot of cases, and it would discourage these companies from moving. And a lot of these are your legacy businesses who have been in town for decades. Okay? The idea of making this all industrial is probably not all that appealing because you bump into residential all around it, and you run into essentially the same problem. So theoretically, you'd like to have vision toward, tidying up some of the old industrial as properties come offline. It doesn't matter what vehicle you utilize to do that. It requires long-term land acquisition that is incredibly expensive and frankly, usually a little bit higher than the risk profile than most municipalities are willing to take on. These are tough challenges that you have to bite at incrementally over decades. But I like the idea of trying to set vision for these and think about how to approach them. But I think it's important to say you're not alone in this, particularly for communities that have railroad going through them. I can find one in every town in northeastern Illinois.
Have you seen it done right in certain places? It could serve as a model, or?
I've had a lot of people ask me if I can find a couple $1,000,000 to move their business out into a newer building, and the spoiler on that is that couple $1,000,000 is always hard to come by. But it is.
Could we find 50,000 for new fencing or?
Right,
like,
you can start to mitigate impacts. The truth is that's probably the only plausible, even medium-term solution
I
for
mean,
something like this.
the size of these, I agree. I moved a steel factory once, built a new one, and then created a development. Like, it can be done if it pencils, right? Like, there's a series of ifs, so.
And you almost need that company to be in expansion mode where they kind of have to.
Yeah.
Because if they can keep operating out of the old one, they're going to. And that's when you can work to acquire, and you can be creative about, putting different incentives in place to help offset the cost of the property and acquisition, but it's one by one by one. Yeah.
It's a lot of land.
Now, directly to the north, is that the existing Canadian National?
Yes.
Okay. And how would that affect? I mean, I don't see as much traffic out of there. Are they still running strong?
I don't have a response right now, yeah.
My expectation is that when they construct the project in Shanahan, utilization of this site goes down. I can tell you, I drive this a lot, and I live that direction, and I come that way into town, and traffic is diminished there relative to what it was right now. I don't know if that's an ongoing strategy, though.
Okay.
Yeah, this area.
Any other comments about this as a sub-area? All right, then the sub-area number 4 is Chicago Street and the McDonough Street corridors, so just on the east side of the Des Plaines River, and then on the west side of the UP and BNSF railroad tracks. This is one of our primary gateways into the city. We are interested in reevaluating this as an entry corridor and also as a corridor for people with their lived experiences. People live in this area. It's close to the downtown. We want to reevaluate this through multiple different lenses. So not just beautification, but how we can encourage better quality of life in this area, engage people with, connecting them to the downtown and to other parts of the city. There's also a potential zoning mismatch in this area, and again, looking at this from a reinvestment and revitalization standpoint.
Why on this one are we including the jail, the PACE facility? Like, we know those aren't going anywhere. They're not getting redeveloped. The city owns that, or I think you own now from the county that PACE bus barn. Leased it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the whole top half of this isn't going anywhere.
Sure.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts, but at this point, we just had it shown for the consultant to look at, just in case they had some other different vision, but I had the same reaction as you.
Because like if we're concerned on the last one we just looked at, that there's other areas like that.
Yeah.
Why are we spending money on an area where half of it's never gonna
Yeah.
change?
I guess the one thought I had why this would be, we would still have the consultant look at that area is the connection of the areas south of there that would be in the focus area into the downtown. So we've talked about, is there a way to have a shared use path or better connection with our trail system from our trails that terminate in different parts of the downtown further south? So that would be the only thing I can think of that would,
If it was, because my only thought was if there's a financial concern on why can't we expand the other
tightening it,
one?
yeah.
Could we tighten this up and
Sure.
spend a little more money somewhere else?
Yeah. Okay.
I think looking north of that, the ETOD study pretty much covered that
Yeah.
other area as well as Choice Neighborhoods looking at that area. So we do have some overlap just to the north of that.
Yep.
And this is a main corridor into our community. We really need to focus on that. It's important.
I don't disagree, I'm just
Yeah.
asking the question.
Is it included just because you can't avoid it? Because it's just.
This is one of the reasons why we're bringing it to you, is to get feedback just like this. So
I think if you don't
it's
include
good.
it, then you might overlook it for some reason, and it's important to remember that that is there, it's not moving, and you need to take it into consideration for any future plans, because.
Yeah. Okay.
Jane, I would only add, if you reduce this by half because I agree, I was gonna ask that same question. Half of this is not gonna change. I understand the entryway, you want to bring people in to have a beautiful, give them the right perception of Joliet. But one area that wasn't mentioned on the east side is that US Steel, 50 acre, and that 30 acres immediately, or I don't know if it's 38.
The ETOD study is
No, I don't-
looking at that
Is it
property.
ETOD looking at that? Oh, okay, I thought the ETOD was downtown.
Yeah, the ETOD is not the same.
The Choice neighborhood,
Pardon?
the Choice neighborhood one I think encompasses that one.
I don't even know if US Steel's in that. When I look at this, this doesn't bring in the new bridge at Route 80 and some of the areas around there that are gonna need to be repurposed with help from the state. Would we want to expand this picture a little bit? It's not in there, I don't think, is it?
So south of McDonough Street is being looked at right now through the Interstate 80 Displays River
Okay,
Bridge
so that's
Community
got
Plan.
its own
So
focus.
we thought this would be a good bridge to building on that plan for this as a sub-area. But that doesn't mean, again, the findings from that plan will emanate into the study of this area.
I'm going to touch on US Steel real quick. We're working with US Steel. All the buildings are down. They have an intermediary company, and the acronym is IDA. I'm not sure what that means.
Industrial Development Advantage.
So what they do is they go around the country and they've worked with US Steel and other sites and other companies that have these brownfield issues. And they figure out what can be done there, what remediation is needed if you were to restart everything, and how much would that be? So right now, we're in that process. I think they're pretty close to completing that. And then they do a mitigation with US Steel, where they indemnify US Steel based on certain criteria. And then they indemnify the end user based on the same thing, as long as you follow the remediation criteria that's laid out. So we're working right now to figure out what do we have and what can we use that canvas for.
And I would agree, that's great. I think I'm a little bit involved with US Steel on some work we do there. But that property, I think it's like 32 or 39 acres immediately south. And then you have a lot of vacant land immediately to the east of there, interspersed housing. But again, that's a major corridor coming into Joliet from Lockport. And we get a lot of business from that area at our coming in. And I don't think we should forget about that. One big parcel, US Steel, and that parcel below offers a lot more than just a 50 acre.
We've also met with the owner of that parcel below that 38
Okay.
acres. I think it's a point well taken. I don't want to speak for Jane or the consultant, but we can certainly ask what the marginal cost is to add another sub area, or if it would be worthwhile to spread them that thin. But I think that it is a point well taken that that's a significant parcel of developable opportunity that is a gateway from the north.
That's one of those things where we need to work with Lockport to, because that's a major corridor. That whole Collins Street corridor is major. And I guess I'm going to throw it back out there because I said it during the election. I'd like to see that become a center for that part of our community. We're looking at the sports core there, which I talked about, and people think I'm crazy, but first we have to make sure, what can we do out there? And how much can we go on the ground, where can we? And then that's just one idea. I mean, so we're in the process right now. We've been working well with US Steel for the last couple of years. They've taken all the buildings down, so they made it safe again. And it's speed of government. We're getting there.
Well, as a government employee, I'm going to push back gently and say it's the speed of international business on this one.
That's true.
Because if U.S. Steel wanted to sell the IDA, they could sell the IDA, but they don't want to sell at the price that IDA says they need to sell at to complete the remediation as they've determined, right? I'm innocent on this one.
Part of the problem was that they were being courted by Nippon Steel to be bought out, so that locked U.S. Steel from any real engagement of conversation. And then when the federal government changed and Nippon could buy them, now they have a course with a new owner that they can make decisions with. And they did not change the head of real estate. So the good thing is the dialogue continues with the same person at U.S. Steel. And so we are moving forward with what we can do. But that is a real important piece of property for our community. And we want to make sure we do the right thing. We get one chance at it. And we have talked to the owner of the 30 acres contiguous to the south. So we're looking at that as an 80-acre piece.
That just makes sense, bigger parcel.
If I can just make a plug here, CED still has its US EPA Brownfield Assessment Grant. That corridor was one of the corridors that we specifically attempted to target. We have money for phase 1 and phase 2 environmental remediation on sites. So as you're doing these sub-area looks, if you run into sites where it's like, hey, we need a little bit of help here, please reach out. We have consultants working that know a lot more than me in terms of like what EPA will ultimately approve. But look, if it's an eligible site, you can get through phase 1 and phase 2 and go back and apply for cleanup money. So like, let's use federal dollars wherever we can. We've had a hard time getting folks to come along on some of those. I think you probably know the owners better than we do. So by all means, if there's opportunity, please let us know.
I would just add to that, US Steel has spent the past 20 years slowly cleaning up the site. I don't know that the neighboring property has done anything with that. And that was the nail mill. There are a lot more chemicals associated with the other site, how do I want to say it, the other property. Just from the way they process steel and the way they coated steel. So there are a lot more chemicals that could be in. I don't know, and maybe you know, have they done any?
Not that we know of.
So that could be something that the city looks at. Where's the neighboring property as to remediation?
We can call that owner and ask him, do we have any phase 1, phase 2 on that to understand what we're getting into and redevelopment there?
And if federal money is available for assisting with that.
Would that be something we'll talk to the owner first. Would that be the best path, Doug?
I mean, talking to the owner first is always the best path. And make no mistake, if you still own the property, like at the US Steel, if you still own the property and you're the one that made the mess, feds aren't funding you for that, right? It's about subsequent property owners and like some of the challenges they're facing. But yeah.
don't think we want to redo batteries there, do we?
Not if you're not selling electric cars.
All right, any other comments on the sub-area 4?
So do we want to, so we leave that space like it is, we don't want to modify it?
I think the point's been well taken. I mean, I'll let them know that we would suggest modifying it, but that doesn't mean they can't still, you know, I guess, indicate or show things that can, how this area connects to the downtown. I think it can be done without lopping that off.
That does make
Yeah.
sense.
So really, it just stops realistically just before you get to the
Yeah, I
jail.
think it's Osgood.
Oh, yeah, Osgood, yeah, Osgood, that'll probably be the best, yeah.
Yeah.
So interestingly, Urban 3 might kind of give us some bubble maps on like population sizes and places like that we can work from to take a look at that stretch of Chicago Street for redevelopment. Is that part of what they're going to do with us?
What Urban 3 will do, they are less a parcel by parcel analysis, but rather they do that analysis, but they do that analysis as a function of the entire land use of the city, right? So if you take a look at, you know, however tens of thousands of taxable area there is in the city of Joliet, let's call it 40,000. They'll say of that X amount is single family residential and its corresponding land use value is Y. And they can look at, you know, the Louis Joliet Mall and say, this produces X amount of value per acre per year based on assessed value and sales tax. That's useful when you think, and their work is useful when you think about what underlying land use you want and what kind of end uses you want to achieve a financial goal. In terms of vision and planning, you know, that dovetails because, you know, what the community wants, that's fine, that you could want A, but you should also know that A will produce a corresponding value. And now that you know that corresponding value, do you still want A, or does that change your preference? You know what I mean? So that's a long way around the barn of saying Urban 3 touches that. It will influence and certainly inform the work that staff and then council will consider. But on a parcel by parcel, what should this be? I mean, you could look at the end result of Urban 3 and say, well, that informs how I conceptualize what I want there, but it's not going to run like a cost benefit on a particular use on a particular parcel.
And their timeline is what, another 60 days or so?
We're gonna look to see a presentation to council late first quarter, early second quarter, yeah. That's our expectation.
Thanks.
All right, any other comments on the topic areas? Or this one
I was just
specifically?
going to ask if our guest on the big screen had any comments on what we've been talking about.
No, sir, Jim, I'm following along just fine.
Just wanted to double check.
Thank you.
I didn't think you were asleep. I just wanted to double check.
Okay. Next on the agenda, staff reports. I don't have anything this time. All of the other projects that we're working on kind of since December have had a lull. We've been doing more just staff and consultant touch-ins, but nothing big to share at this point for the other major land use projects. So with that, we can move to member comments. Does anyone have anything you want to share?
Yes, I would like to share. The Chamber is partnering with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and we are going to be a regional host for the Civics Bee. It's for 6th through 8th graders, And it could be a homeschooled student from a charter school or in one of our school districts. They submit an essay. That's the first round. And what I am in need of are 10 judges that would score the essays in that first round. We will narrow it down to 3. The judges narrow it down to 3, and those 3 students go to Springfield, and then they compete with all of the Illinois school districts, and they go to Washington for the final competition. 1 goes to Washington. This past year, which was about a month ago, they had the final in Washington, and we had we weren't a host last year, but a Plainfield student made it to Washington. So 6th through 8th, but it would require between 1 and 3 hours, depending on how many essays we receive. The goal is to have 50, but it's our first year. 20 is a really good number. So you would be reading 20 essays. And the question they need to answer is, what, in general, is there a problem or a need in your community, and how would you address it or fix it? So I was going to reach out to several of you personally, but it would be very helpful if this group, we had a few judges. And it's all obviously online. Any questions? So the February 4th is the deadline for these essays to be turned in. And it's pretty easy. It's the U.S. Chamber Foundation Civics B, if you want to look it up. But it's pretty exciting. I know Teresa's encouraging it in her school district.
Well, it's interesting because even after you score them and somebody is a winner, I think the essays would be interesting to find out what younger people think.
Sure. And
see if there's anything in there that can be a part of looking to the future.
You want to harvest their ideas? It's good. Absolutely, I'm for that.
And if you have any time, you could look at the final competition in Washington, and it's just amazing to see these young students.
Can I ask you to maybe circulate the link to do that?
Absolutely.
That way Doug can, and anybody else that has time will.
And if you know of someone you think would be a great judge.
Oh, that's cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, they want it to be as big as a spelling bee, the National Spelling Bee at some point.
That'd be cool.
And how many words are in each essay?
Classic 255 paragraph essay type thing.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't gone into the nitty gritty of the essay. It's all online. They've got great information.
We could overnight them to Florida.
Yeah, right.
It's all virtual. He could do
Why
it.
are you picking on me?
Jealous.
Just want to keep you engaged. I'm not picking.
Are you looking for an invite or what?
I have an announcement. Ezio Community Development Services, we have rolled out our home remodel and repair program, and we are assisting a minimum of 20 homeowners to repair their homes. Our grants are $1,000 to $3,000, and so we are looking for individuals who would qualify. They do have to be low to moderate income. So we have rolled that out, and we are currently accepting applications. So if there's anyone at your school, at your churches that you know might benefit from this, please have them visit our website. It's Ezio Community Development Services.
When does the application period end?
Right now, we don't have a deadline for it to end because we want to utilize all of the funds that we have.
Great.
So
I'm telling the realtors about it tomorrow.
Okay.
If you all aren't busy, Sunday, January the 18th, if you've been in Joliet for a while, many of you remember the old Martin Luther King celebration that Dr. Isaac Singleton and Operation Push used to do. We are rebooting that up this year. It'll be Sunday, the 18th of January, 6 o'clock p.m. at Mount Olive Church. It's co-sponsored by National Hookup of Black Women, the Rainbow Push Coalition Joliet chapter, NAACP Joliet chapter, Lebanon Baptist District Association of Joliet and vicinity, the Alliance for Civic Engagement, and who was the last sponsor? I cannot remember. I lost track that quick. But yeah, Sunday, the 18th of January, 6 o'clock at Mount Olive. Our guest speaker will be the Reverend Dr. Charlie Dates, who pastors Salem Baptist Church of Chicago, and he also pastors Progressive Baptist Church. And then Congresswoman Lauren Underwood will be a guest speaker as well. So I invite you all to come to that.
Can I make one comment on the plan document stuff you sent out?
Yes.
Could we get pictures from other parts of Joliet in there? Like, we talk about how we want to unify the city.
Yeah.
And I was mentioning to Jim, if you look at the pictures and all the stuff we put out, Joliet's only about 5 blocks long.
Yep.
Be good to include the rest of the town.
Yep. Okay. I heard that from another committee member, so. Okay. Yeah, that. I have, I guess, one announcement. Just another government partner of ours, Joliet Township High School Districts, they're doing their State of the District address. This was on January 29th. It's in the early evening. I think it's, I don't know what school it's at this year. It might be Central, but any case, encourage people to go if they haven't gone already. They have, I believe, a pre-registration on their website for that, so learning about the district's priorities for the upcoming school year.
It's at Joliet West.
It's at Joliet West this
Starts at
year?
5.
Okay, starts at 5. Thank you.
What was the date again?
January 29th.
We're going to talk about schools. The application period is open for
Yep.
the internship program, the high school internship program, which both Joliet, public high schools and JCA students are eligible to apply. Go to the CED's website. We have something like 150 positions this year available for high school students, and Kayla told me this morning we crossed 100 applications already over the Christmas break, so kids are starting to apply. So yeah, if you have high school kids in your life, send them to our website, apply for jobs.
Okay.
Also, if you have kiddos that need a scholarship, the Silver Cross Healthy Community Scholarship Commission Scholarship, is out. So the deadline's coming up January 15th. So please tell kiddos to apply in high school. Also, get your flu shots. I got sick 3 weeks ago, and I'm still lingering with a cough. So please get your flu shots. Don't get this sickness. It's really bad.
I very much appreciate the mask.
Well, I thought all the input this morning was good. I think the sub-area discussion particularly was good, and look forward to those modifications being made, and looking forward to the meetings that are coming up on the different focus areas, and then the second community workshop. And I would just, again, encourage everybody to promote them within whatever area of influence you might have. I think would be helpful to do so, because, all that input is very important, and we really don't want to miss anything as we're driving this thing home, so to speak. So, thank you for your efforts. Amen.
Okay, anyone else? Next on the agenda. Is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Fog from the pulpit.
In a second. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Any opposed?